Oh, part two. You want to hit songwriting?
Yeah, man. So Liam mentioned you're quite a sensitive songwriter.
No, I didn't mean in that sense. I mean, he's quite. I don't know how to explain it, man. He's. I don't know. It's quite beautiful in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's quite.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's hard one to explain. Do you know what I mean? It's something, but it's quite like something quite delicate about it. Do you know what I mean?
That tenor after.
Yeah.
How do you write then?
It's hard to explain because I don't really feel like there's a method. I kind of just go with what's in my head, really.
All on like an acoustic guitar sort of thing, or
Not. I use my phone a lot and just walk around the house and just think about riffs and choruses all the time, because I feel your choruses and your riff that's what makes or breaks a song. Really, you can write anything around that. But yeah, I've never really had a process. It chops and changes. I'd say my main one is coming up with a guitar riff or something, and then building off that, writing the tune, and then putting the lyrics in after. But certain songs you kind of get a chorus in first, or just be lying in bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning and then think, oh yeah, that's fucking sick, that is. Then record a lot of voice note on your phone, and then later on, then the next morning pick your guitar up and put chords behind it, and then get it into Logic that way. But yeah, some of it comes from like personal experiences and something. When I wrote Where Are You Now, that was about my uncle passing away. So yeah, it's good to use personal experiences sometimes, because it makes your music a little bit more genuine.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's never really been like a formula. When someone asks that question, and like, yeah, I'd do this first or do that first. It's just, I don't know whether it's because I'm doing it and it's coming naturally, and someone else might think, yeah, that's your formula. But yeah, I've never thought of it in a way that I have a specific way of doing stuff.
Because you've got to be one of the only bands really at the moment that kind of open songs with riffs, don't you? Like, look, if you look at, like, say, another indie band in Birmingham, normally everything comes in together, and then there's like a lead line over the top of the chord progression that's going to go into the verse or something. You kind of took it back really to, like, I don't know if they're inspirations, but obviously like Led Zeppelin, like that's how they kind of start most songs, isn't it? Really, like.
Yeah, I'd say, man, we're big into like blues and just genuine rock riffs and stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think a riff, as Pierce said, is a great foundation to starting a tune.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the times, like, you know, it can follow a chorus and stuff like that. So, and yeah, I think it comes quite naturally to us, don't it? It's right, like, it's right core riff. So we just play to our attributes a bit there, I think.
The one you were talking about earlier, that me and him wrote together through lockdown. I think I was kind of giving him stick when like in the chatting and stuff. Going, man, you're gonna write another fucking song, man. Like, it's been 5 years.
Nah, it weren't you, mate. It weren't you. Basically, like, we were in the studio, and it was during all this COVID bollocks. Yeah. So only one of us were allowed in the control room at a time. So we were all in this like little cottage, because our studio is like this mad castle. I was like, oh no, my bad.
No, sorry.
Everyone just kind of on edge after the first one.
Yeah, and our producer, like, if we weren't in there, we'd just be sitting about playing FIFA, and our producer come in and like kind of bollocks us. Like, you've got lots of demoing equipment, just write a tune.
Yeah.
And he just kept going on at me and going on at me. And I was like, for fuck's sake, I won't do it just to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
And then we come up with this riff, and then that was like what turned into this song.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? But it was as a result of kind of being pushed a bit. But I work better that way. Do you know what I mean? I think I need to be told to like stop playing Pezzo 9.
Mate,
I'm on PS2 in this studio.
Player, man.
Yeah, and like, write a tune.
What's been your journey as a guitar player then? So, because to be fair, I've noticed you kind of improve even over like the last 2-3 years, really. Like,
oh, thanks, man. I feel like
is
I've
it
got
something
shit
you really
last couple
work
of years.
at? Is it something you really work at, or is it just?
I'm not even gonna say I sit there and like sweat for hours playing guitar or anything, because I don't, man. But I don't know. I like playing. Do you know what I mean?
Did you ever have that spell? Like, for me, when I was about 14, I was like, I'm gonna be Slash.
Yeah.
So I spent 2-3 years learning to solo exactly like Slash. I don't use it now, but
really?
That was part of my development to kind of get myself to the place where I can now use it as a tool. Like, did you ever find someone that you basically imitated to try and get yourself into the part where you can play solos because of it? And
nah, man. I think I got into some people, and then I got bored after like 3 months. So I learned like a few bits from them, a few bits from them, and then I think it's just cultivated into this weird kind of like way that I play now, which is our producer always takes the piss out of me, man, because it's far from clean. Do you know what I mean? It's really quite gritty, and especially obviously when you're trying to lay down a tune in the studio. and your producer wants like a clean take, and you're just fucking playing like you sound like playing with a fucking penny.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'm quite like the way it sounds, man.
A lot of you sounds him. To be fair, like he's like even Noel Gallagher like an inspiration for like. Because to be fair, like you keep quite simple as well, don't you? Like,
yeah, I'd say so. I don't overcomplicate shit, man, and I'm far away from knowing anything about theory, and I'm far away from like the correct things that you should be doing. But it works for me, man, and it's worked so far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Is there anyone in your band that kind of has that sort of theory?
Oh, Niall, mate, he's fucking mental. Yeah, he's like got a grade 8 and stuff and that, and he's really like that's another good thing to say actually, like that he's quite. Niall's really musically trained and stuff, so that is a bonus to have around in the studio and songwriting and stuff because.
Because I think it comes like I think collectively I think that's what makes great bands as well. Like we had an electric union, it was a bit like Paul McCartney and John Lennon. How like John Lennon didn't have the theory knowledge that Paul did, but John would have like great sparks of imagination that no
Paul
theory
did.
could teach you to do a certain thing. Where Paul's kind of come from a sort of different background where everything was a bit more precise and to the click. And I think. I was always conscious when I was learning theory at uni. I was like, I don't want this to be a thing where like I consciously use it when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Now I will use it to maybe get myself out of a jam. So if I can't think of a bridge, I might use theory to kind of give me something else. But I think it's good that you kind of have that contrast where you can have someone go, that doesn't sound quite right. If you do this though, that will go to the right place. That in your head is probably.
Yeah, it could never be me, man, or probably even Pierce, like being that theory. But yeah, I did when I left college. I did music block practice at uni, and then I dropped out because I just I couldn't stand playing guitar while I was doing it, and I kind of realised then that like I'm not one of them people that's meant to do you know what I mean, play and learn that way. I like playing it as like sounds a bit off, but like as a release from do you know what I mean, your job and studies and all that shit. So
it almost comes from like some of the best guitar players that don't really know what they're doing. It can come more from like childlike places though, can't it? Of just messing around and something so simple like. When you like look at like Oasis' first album, like I forgot some. It's obviously Liam Gallagher's melodies the same from like the Coca-Cola advert, and it's like he almost like a lot of his melodies were quite childlike because he kind of that's all he took them from really, wasn't it? Like they're almost like sort of choir-esque or hymn-esque really the way he kind of built them because. And Noel said like the reason he got like people kept going, oh that sounds like Get It On or like he ripped off Stevie Wonder a couple of times and stuff. It's like well. I didn't have like an eclectic jazz collection that I could pull references from. He's like, I had 10 records. He's like, I knew him front to back. He's like, but that's only the way I can write from really because it's all he knew. Like, is that kind of where you?
Yeah, I'd say so. Probably not that like precise. Or I probably you saying that to me now. It's probably the first time I probably realised that's the way I do it. But I don't know. It works so far. Do you know what I mean? I'm able to play like all the chorus tunes and. The ideas that Pierce brings to a standard eventually. Yeah. Some of them take longer than others and stuff, but.
Do you ever have like a solo in your head that you can't quite do though because?
Nah, because I don't think about it if I can't play it.
Just do something else.
Yeah, just do something else.
What's the key? Pentatonic keys. Like
yeah, that's it. My whole thing is pentatonic and the odd blues lick, and it's served me well so far.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes naturally though. I mean, I did music at GCSE. Well, I never fucking listened. I actually hated doing the theory side of music because it just bored me. But I think a lot of it comes naturally. When you're talking about songwriting and feeling for a bridge and stuff. I always kind of not knowing theory wise, but like I know which way a song should go, or like where it should go from there, and then just try and find the chord, and it kind of just comes naturally. So a lot of it's experience.
There's more to it than theory, man.
You don't need that big, massive knowledge. It obviously helps depending on what. If you're writing movie scores and shit like that, you can't just do it and fucking guessing what the cello is going to play in this certain bit.
Yeah.
But
if you look at
a band, you can not wing it, but with a bit of experience and doing different kind of
like almost collectively though, you can kind of fill in the blanks at the other person.
Yeah, if you look at the best bands, man, from the last 3 years and stuff, like as you mentioned, like Oasis, none of them were musically trained. No. Do you know what I mean? They just had like a lot to say and were like good at their instruments and stuff. But
just love music.
Yeah, just love music, man. Do you know what I mean? We listen to enough of it, which means we study it enough. And we, when you grow up, as I say, like when we first started just doing a load of covers, you kind of like have an ear for how they've done things, and how they've like put that riff together and stuff, and then it kind of just leads on. Do you know what I mean? And then you find yourself like inspired by things even you've done. Do you know what I mean? And then it just kind of goes on that way. But yeah, I think like we've never like shunned away from like a new genre or a new style of doing anything. Do you know what I mean? Which is what it's probably led us to such a unique sound now.
Of course, yeah. Well, I take it you don't think about it, but you know, if you used to picture yourself in something like 10 years' time,
Yeah.
do you have like an idea in your head of like how you might evolve? Is there something that you go, I'd love to maybe make more of like if you're at the point where you've done like 5 records, you're like, shit, we need something a bit different. Like, would you maybe go down like a full Motown route or even more disco than you have done? Or
I don't know, man. I think we're thinking of, as I say, we won't shut anything away, but I think we're thinking about like obviously our debut record now and what we want that to say and what we want that to be, and we've got another good idea of it, and it's just about how we craft that at the moment. But as you know, Pierce is always writing tunes, especially and stuff, and some of them, one of them's this weird like fucking French like little ballad thing. Do you know what I mean? And even that's good. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's just
In
different.
French.
Aye?
In French.
I don't think it is French, but it sounds proper French.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it?
it's Birmingham, but you mumble a slightly more, so it sounds French.
That's pretty much what Birmingham is.
Yeah.
just unevolved French.
It's like the Black Country comes from like German and Anglo-Saxon, man, like Arbinia.
Yeah, that's it, innit? We just write like
To be honest, I mean,
mad shit.
my early view for the band was that our first album would be of 3 parts, where one part was one genre of music, the second part was another genre, and the third part was another one. There's a bit of an immature vision for it, but I think, like me personally, I've kind of always wanted it to go in that direction where you're listening to our collection of songs and you're not hearing the same thing. Because I mean, when we started out, when we were like 15, 16, properly, like we used to love Catfish and the Bottlemen, but now it's just like 3 albums of the same fucking song. And the first album was fucking unreal. Like it was this.
And
It was this like big, like when you were 15, 16, these big anthems, and even though the songs were similar, like it was a collective bunch of songs. And then when their second album came out, we were still really into them. Yeah. And then kind of dropped off. And when you heard the third one, it was like, right, the songs aren't as good and it sounds the same. Yeah. If the songs weren't as good, but there was a different sound, you'd be like, alright, this is a little bit different. But just releasing the catalogue of the same shit.
That's why like the best bands always differ, don't they, man? Yeah. You look at Arctics, man, their first record was this, you know, it sounds like a teenager's band. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then
mix of the Strokes.
And then the second was like that, but a lot more mature. You know, and really good songs and hits. And then the third was like, fuck you, so I'm just gonna write this really dark tune. You know what I mean? And then the fourth was a pop album.
It was basically a way to get to AM as well, wasn't it?
And then the
a pivot album, exactly.
And then the fifth was a pop record. It was a pop, like, you know what I mean? Each song was a radio tune.
Because to be fair, we used to come from, well, I personally used to come from the mindset, like, I'd want an album to do everything. Like, I'd want slow songs, I'd want upbeat songs. But I found a couple of songwriters recently, and because my plan is to be more prolific in say 20 years time, I want 20 albums. I'm probably more likely to now sit into like a mood or a zone for like 1 record at a time and fluctuate. Go like, I'm gonna do a really like indie pop record, then I'm gonna do like a fucking sad like folk country record or whatever it is. Like, then I'll do one that sounds like T-Rex, and I'll do one that sounds like Alice Cooper. Like, to me, it's weird. Then like, I suppose you construct it, isn't it? So like when you, I take it you're in like almost like the planning stages for this album. Where you're thinking about it, but you're not working towards it necessarily.
No, it's definitely working.
Yeah, I'd say like obviously we've got these 12 tunes at the moment now. As Pierre said, having a bit of an exchange earlier on. Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like kind of we've got these tunes and like it's weird, man. Like we're happy with each of them to the same level. Yeah. It's just we don't know what to put out next or what to save. Oh, and then we've got like a good little management team now. Yeah. That are able to point us in like a good direction and stuff. So yeah, it's all about like, you know, holding your cards almost a bit now.
Are you not going to ever take some of the old singles and put them into another record?
What ones like Shut Me Out?
Maybe it's B-side. I don't think you can ever discard like any of your work. I mean, we took Golden Age and Shut Me Out off Spotify when we released Time of Our Lives. Yeah. Just because it didn't really reflect what we wanted. New people coming into the band, industry people. We didn't want them thinking that's what the band was, because it's so completely different now. It's not like you can listen to one album and then go, oh, this is some of their earlier stuff. Like, we haven't released an album yet, so it's all kind of one collective piece of music. So it kind of made sense to kind of remove some of that older stuff off. But never say never. I mean, some of those songs, like, what we wouldn't be like selling out shows that we're doing now or on any of these festivals. Yeah, if not for those songs.
We're proud of them, man, and they're really nostalgic. And you know, before lockdown, when we were playing some of them live, still they were the ones that, you know, the people who've been there from the start were like most buzzed to hear. Do you know what I mean? Because it reminded them getting
would you
into.
ever like, you know,
well,
like
yeah.
budget wasn't a thing? Would you ever like re-record, say like Where Are You Now and do like full
Yeah,
orchestra,
that's
like
that's
take
what we
something like that and say like second or third
Yeah,
album,
that-
we're gonna make it. Suppose almost give the song justice for what it deserved compared to when you maybe didn't necessarily have the budget to go. All right, I'll be around for 2 days. We'll get a string section. We're gonna do this and.
I think that's one of the ones we've always spoke about redoing and doing
that would
properly.
definitely happen. That and
Let's talk
and
about Tokyo.
And Tokyo as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our first producer we worked with was such a good guy, and he really helped. He helped to build us as a band from then, and then it got to a point where it's like, right, we kind of got to move to a more professional level, and that wasn't anything against him. It's just sometimes you got to try different things.
What was the studio?
We were in Circle, studio in Birmingham, which is it's a state of the art studio. I think Jay-Z's actually done a song there. It's like in this shithole area of Birmingham, like, that you'd never imagine fucking someone like Jay-Z being there.
Knocking about from.
But the part of one of his albums a few years ago I've done in there. But yeah, we were recording with not the main producer there, but someone who was just like renting a room there called Alex, who's still a great producer. And yeah, it was kind of just one of those things. It was like not a stepping stone, but that's where we started, and this is where we've evolved.
Yeah. It's really fun memories, man, of there, because I feel like that in that studio, that first one, that's where we crafted our sound, man. Because like he's such a good guy, Alex was, and he just let us fucking roam free in there for hours. Honestly, we'd be in there at 6 a.m. and stuff some days, and we'd be out by like 10 p.m. and we'd just literally like sleep there, and we'd just like constantly be like listening to music and playing. You know, I think
it needs bongos.
Yeah, and then that's where I discovered bongos. Yeah, now that's where it like kind of started in terms of like how creative you can be in the studio and shit, which is like led us to where we are now and stuff. So
I think that's an issue though. I think when you first get a taste in the studio, the issue is you're normally very much on the clock, and you got to go in and try and get down what you've been rehearsing for like the last 4 or 5 months or whatever it is. And you get in and you try and throw all these things. Like, I suppose you guys are getting to the point now where you can have days at like a great studio, like you're almost settling in, going like you kind of take your time and you relax, and maybe it comes from the idea of like writing an album the same way like a band like the Amazons would now, as compared to like you going in just renting a day and then just trying to rush everything through. You're almost given that space to kind of try and evolve ideas.
I think to do one song now, it probably takes us about 3 days. To get one song done.
Is that a song you'd already have written and you'd still push it to its limits?
A lot of the time, or sometimes even it'd be written, but sometimes we've got like the tune that we'll listen back to it in the car on the way home after we've done these 3 days, and then listen back to back with a demo, and it's just like night and day, man. So it's really interesting to see how it grows in there, man.
I think because composition wise now, the songs they're a lot more complex than how we used to write, because it used to just be like guitar playing chords, then doing a riff, then doing a little bit in the verse, and then do the same thing for the chorus, and then the riff, then the middle eight, and it was all kind of just like 2 guitar parts, bass, drums, vocals, and now it's like there's piano in there, there's synths in there, on top of like 7 different guitar riffs in one fucking tune. And then harmonies and backing vocals and all this different shit. So it just, because you're doing it in a more professional manner, like if we were to try and do a tune in one day, it'd just be impossible now.
Have you felt yourselves evolving as musicians and artists? Cause
probably when we talk about it like this, but
it's clear to see it from the outside looking in, but have you noticed that change in sort of the way you do compose and the ideas you have because of your evolution and maybe the chords you use? And
I don't know. I don't think you notice it at the time. Sometimes they go into like our producer and he's like, that's cool as fuck. Like I can really see that you're changing and stuff. But I don't say any of us notice anything like or to say it. Do you know what I mean? I think obviously when you're having a natter about it and stuff, and you listen to some of the older tunes and then back to now, they're like night and day. I
suppose one thing, I suppose to compare to our like the way we did it, because we don't have like a diary full of gigs and we record here. We have a lot of time to let stuff breathe. Like we can almost kind of see when things are evolving and when things are changing. Like Ryan's sound changed completely. He's going back to his old sound now. Like
it's kind of in the middle, isn't it? I went from being singer songwriter to band. To then now being the band singer songwriter.
Where like I suppose we're more reflective of our like evolution because we have a lot of time to think about what we do because we don't do anything else. Like because you guys are constantly, I suppose, juggling loads of plates. Like you've mentioned what you do for work and like studying stuff as well. And then when you're not doing that, you book to the hilt with like festivals and certain things you're working towards. I suppose you almost don't get the time to reflect on
Yeah, I suppose, man.
You're less reflective because, again, like you said, you're always looking forward. You're probably reflecting 10 years on, going, "Oh, that was a time we really changed and stepped it up." And
yeah, probably will looking back. Yeah, we all said we do better when we're busy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think we hate being in a fucking rut, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially like when we first started, it was like frustrating trying to like get the opportunities and stuff. And then when they started coming, we just seen it as like a new chance to improve ourselves every time and show people what we were about. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the tunes we got now are bred from that, I'd say.
I suppose because you're right collectively as well, because like, you know, if we find a new artist, you hear that in our songs because it's only us playing all the parts. Where I suppose because you guys are constantly listening to different things separately and then you come together, like your bass player for instance, or maybe learn a new style, will put in a track and you guys won't realise until 2 years later when you see him playing it live and he's got a sub, you go, oh, look, he never used to do that before, but he's doing something else now. Maybe that's why you don't necessarily see it as well, because
it's really great. Johnny is actually the most talented bass player I've ever come across in doing music, and it's a shame because he's such a tool. But he's genuinely he's mad. He never picked up a bass guitar until we forced him to in year 8.
Yeah.
Because we never had a bass player, so we forced him to start, and then he's kind of picked it up since then. And if I've written a song and come into the studio with it and go, right, this is how it's going to go, I'll give him a template for the bass and then just play with it, and then add his little bits into it, a little slap here and there, and a little riff, and change it into a completely different, different line that completely changes the song. So we're lucky to have a group that would do that. You'll give a riff to Liam and it'll come out, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but in a completely different way, and you go, that actually sounds better. It sounds more like us.
You're there going, you didn't know the riff, did you?
But I feel like that's kind of an identity of ours. I'll write something, maybe a riff on some of the tunes that we've done recently over lockdown, and say this is how it's going to go, and then leave him in the studio to do his bit, and then go in like 2 hours later and go, that's not what we told him.
That's
to
what
do.
we were saying.
And then it actually sounds better though, because it sounds like us.
Yeah. That's what we were saying though about like when all this COVID bollocks was happening and we were first getting back into the studio. Usually when we were doing takes, you'd have like everyone else in the control room and they go, nah, not like that. Do you know what I mean? But like obviously because we could go in, and I fucking loved it, man. I was like, I'm gonna go in and do my thing. Do you know what I mean? I ain't got anyone telling me to play it different or. Do you know what I mean? So you were free in that time when you were doing your take to make it sound as much like you as possible. So then when it was so individual, and then when it come together and it sounded so good, I think it just showed that all our individual efforts across the board is what sounds like us. Do you know what I mean? It was nice to like do it that way and like put a magnifying glass on what everyone's doing. And then it come out that way.
There was a little bit in one of the tunes we did over summer where I think you were out getting a Mackies and we were on a really tight schedule.
And then he re-recorded your guitar part and didn't tell you.
So what? I had to play one of the solos in one of the songs. It was only like one of like outro from a chorus. It was like 8 bars. When I listen back to it, I actually don't even like it because not that it's played bad. It's just like it doesn't sound like Liam's played it. So electric. So in the outro, there's like as you come out of the first chorus, there's a solo that goes into the second verse. And like. No, you won't. If you were listening to it, you wouldn't be able to tell. But when I'm listening to it and going, I know it's me. I don't even like it because it doesn't sound like our guitarist is playing it. It sounds like someone else.
Yeah, I think you do notice stuff like that, man. But yeah, probably for the best for that tune anyway. But because I reckon I'd still be there now. What was that fucking note again?
Next one. This is the tape.
So what do you see for yourself in the next year or two?
World domination, man. I swear, man. I'm just fucking buzzing. We're all buzzing to get back on the road and just have it, man, and have fun and make the most of these support slots that we've never had in our life. And enjoy it and get in the studio and write more good tunes. And just show people what we're about, man. Do you know what I mean? We've never played to more people than what we have at a headline gig. I'd love to be able to take it to a crowd of new people, thousands of new people, and show them, this is like the finished thing that we've worked so hard for. Pick them up, man. Do you know what I mean? And have people go, It's like,
Libertines are playing O2 in November. Like, you ideally want to be the guys that come on before the Libertines, and instead of the drummer and bass player who are great musicians and then they're carrying Carl and Pete, like, you guys come on and go, oh, we're from Birmingham, here's our song, and then have like 500 people in the 2.5 days, and people go, fucking know this one, like, and then you get them gasping for the headline and everything, like.
I feel like it was just slaps we've always kind of been a bit sore about, because we always felt, not always, but certainly in the last year or two, that we kind of deserved, but we never really got the chance to do them. Like, there's been some slots that we really wanted and missed out on a little
What
bit.
bands would you support if you could, like?
If we could,
if, you know, if it's like we could like play to their audience and fucking win them over in 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
I think a band like DMA's at the moment. I think they're one of the. Over lockdown, I wasn't a massive fan before the pandemic happened. I started listening to them after someone asked us to do DMA's fan page asked us to do a cover of one of their songs.
Oh, okay.
So I started listening to them after we covered In the Air, and I just really got in. I think the way they write songs is just like. It's actually quite beautiful.
They're Australian, aren't they?
Yeah, they're Australian. They're not even British.
Nah.
But I actually seen them at Glastonbury in 2016. They did a secret set and no one knew who they were. Everyone piled up to this secret set thinking Catfish in the Bottom were going to play.
And these rude boys have turned up like fuck.
They always do like a secret set on Thursday before the festival actually starts. And because they have this page that does rumours about who's going to play. So someone has spotted Catfish there and said they were going to do an acoustic set in this tent. We came and this Australian band started playing, but I was pissed up, so I never really like listened to them or anything. I was just there, and then when they started becoming big, I was like, oh yeah, I know them, but never got into them. I feel like definitely they're a crowd that I think we'd please now.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a few, man.
There's a good few. I think
because their fan base is very British, isn't it? It's that sort of.
They're bigger here than they are in Australia, definitely.
But it's almost the fans that would like Arctic Monkeys and Cortinas, like they're like little unkept gem at the moment. He's amazing, is it? Like, I've got a lad in Sedgley, like he loves all that sort of thing. He's always wearing like Stone Islands and everything. He's like, listen to the DMAs, mate. Like he loves DMAs, he loves the Lathams as well. Like there is two bands that like he sees like his little project at the moment to like try and tell everyone about him. Like. But
do you hit me with the 5 questions?
Yeah, we do normally do like a little quick burst question thing as well at the end. I think the questions might differ slightly. I'm going to make them up on the spot because
crack on.
We're not that prepared. But I just want to take it back slightly actually, because the only thing we haven't really talked about is like the mental health element of deciding to do music and the ups and downs that come with it. Has there been any particular low points in the band? Like, obviously, you say it started over like probably 8 years ago now, like when you were about 13, 14.
Informally, yeah, when we were like 13, it was just a bit of a joke. Well,
better than after school
it
club.
was just a project. It was just a project to try and get Burrs to fall in love with me.
Is that going?
It still is. It still is that.
Working tremendously.
Well, that's
they're looking like the Tharios on the Cage Boys.
Some of these new songs are about the failures of that.
Yeah,
but,
Is there any like distinguishable low points really that you know it's almost felt like I might go and do this with another group or?
No, we've always seen the band, like collectively. I think we'd all say this as like a thing that no matter what things you've gone through outside of the band, you've always got that. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, man. Collectively between all of us, probably been through a world of shit.
Yeah.
But you know, we all get together, talk about it.
Your saving grace is the band.
Yeah, and these songs are released, man, and that's why I can't stand these bands that fucking cry about going on tour. Like, oh, it's so hard. In what other industry, man, do you get to go and see at least the UK with your best mates? You know what I mean, and play a load of tunes that you've written that are tangible forever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you got people on board who you'll know about them. I know we're lucky. Do you know what I mean? You might think that we're at a level where what we do is appreciated and stuff. Yeah. But we've all said, man, we've had such good times, and long may they continue, man.
Yeah, man, that's great. Like one of the things that I always saw there once, and it was a band I used to follow called Heaven's Basement, and they're like a proper like old school sort of like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC sounding band. They were cool as fuck, man. And I used to follow their Facebook, and they'd landed like the arse end of France, like in the countryside. So when they're playing a venue, they were that desperate to get themselves a beer and their roadies a beer that they walked for an hour and a half before the gig to find this quiet little pub in like the south of France or something. And literally they've gone, we'll let you know when we get on. And they put this post up saying they're going to try and find a pub. 2 hours later, they're all sat around this table in the arse end of nowhere, all with their pints. I've gone, that's the dream, innit, man? Like, we went to a BBC introducing thing in London. One of the reasons we started the podcast was because we wanted to kind of know, like, what happens before the band is busy.
It was fucking frustration, wasn't it?
We want to kind of pull down the curtain and go like, how did you get here, and how did you get that tour, and how did you do it?
We saw Catfish at BBC introducing and they spoke about fuck all.
So their story they were on about, there was like, well, Bondi used to live in the lockup, and we were doing 300 shows a year and with the hardest working band we knew. I've gone, well, Bondi didn't join till the second album. The first one was a hit.
Yeah.
So he come in on the tour of the first album because Billy Bibby left.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's not their starting point. That's them already having like a top 10 album, getting played on Radio 1.
Yeah.
And they refused to tell you the story beforehand, almost because maybe there was someone financing it, or there was a manager that really took them under the wing and got them all these shows. But
I can kind of see why though, man, because if you've lived it, you know, and you've been lucky enough to get to a certain point, you know, you want to talk about it, and you know, I do have a lot of respect for Catfish in the sense that they used to play fucking car parks, to, you know, after gigs and stuff. So that's their thing. But do you know what I mean?
But we were there going like, yeah, but we'd love to play 300 shows, but no fuck all bookers. Like,
you
know, we're there going like, we can play Birmingham once a month, because if you do it twice a month, no one's coming. Like, we
much because we're shit.
But we spent the last money we had to get to London to rent a horrible like hotel that had no water. And then it was still like an hour and a half commute to get to the other side of London to go to this like introducing thing. We've gone, well, they're telling us the stuff that they wanted because it looks cool. Going, with the hardest working band, we had this, we had this, we had that. And they go, no, but we wanted to know like what it was like when you was playing to 30 people. And then did you get from that to playing to 30 people other side of the country? Like,
yeah, ours was organic, and in short, ours was really organic. Primarily a lot of word of mouth, and word of mouth via social media. And stuff that I think we've been able to be in a position that we're in, and I think I am a band that really proud of the fact that it has been organic. It has been organic, and it's not been industry bred like a lot is now.
But you guys, I think you guys are really fucking cool though. So like, people like we'd see your shows, like obviously saw like the Raw Sound filming and everything, and that's the sort of thing where people see the show and see people on each other's back singing songs like Where Are You Now and everything. Go. You want to be part of that crowd. You want to go just to be part of that crowd because the crowd are fucking
you put a great night out.
I think that's a massive
with
part
good
of
music.
You know, you almost turned it from going, not coming to watch your mates play. It's like, no, we're going for a night out. We're going to fucking sing these songs.
We've always tried to do it.
And then you're going to be the snobs after and get cunty.
See, even if you don't even know the songs, man. I always when I was a bit younger, like before we started doing it properly and got a little bit of local success, was what always drew me to bands was like seeing how good the atmosphere was at the gigs. Not even their songs, like just how good the atmosphere was at gigs and stuff. To be honest, I'd never really got into Jaws at all. I'm still not really into them. I was never like you were massively into them. I never really got into stuff. It wasn't ready for me. But I met him at the gig just because all my pals were going there from school, because it was like we were just going for, we were 16. Like we're just gonna go for a night out, see if we can fucking get some beer from somewhere and just go and get pissed up and have a good time, innit?
Yeah.
And like that's where I think you fall.
If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't.
It's the thing, man. You fall into a lot of things just from like, you know, kind of like, I don't know, the sense of wanting to be like part of something. You know what I mean? And we always try to do like, we link it up with like a club night now and stuff. Do you know what I mean? We like to be like.
You've done like DJ sets at the top of the Sunny as well, haven't you? Stuff like
we like to be part of something wider, man, and not so much as like we're gonna give you music and you're gonna consume it, and but you know what I mean. We're gonna be like part of something. Do you know what I mean? Part of something, man. Do you know what I mean? And start something like, I say this, like we're all into like this disco and soul and shit, and like bringing that into like more people, and do you know what I mean? Creating something from the ground up and being like, I don't want to say pioneers, but certainly fucking at the front force of doing something pure.
I'll give you I'll ask you this question actually, because you obviously people that care about the songs, and I imagine like whatever album comes, if you're quite ambitious, you're going to try and have done like a few things. When I first started gigging with my band, the idea was the same, so I wanted to create a night out. The way you guys create a night out and people all dance and they'll get involved in everything. After about a year and a half, I turned around and realised that no one in the crowd, even if there's 40-50 people there in the crowd surfing, no one's actually really listened to my lyrics or the craft of the songs behind what they just deem is like a party band.
Right.
Have you ever felt that? Like, have you ever felt like, you know, someone might claim to be like a fan of yours and they come to all your shows, but they don't actually really sit and digest the songs maybe the way you intended them, or have you felt they've been digested the way that you did portray them?
I think it's hard depending on what venue you're playing as well. Certainly when we started out, you couldn't hear anything that was going on apart from drums and guitars and just the like
cymbals and
distant sound of some kids' vocals. Like, but like now it's a bit it's maybe a little bit different because we've got songs out there, so people know the songs, and because they know the songs, they might, you know, stand and sit around for the slower ones and like listen to them and stuff. I think it just depends how captivated people are with you as an artist.
Yeah, we're quite lucky in the sense that like when we started, we'd all have this like group of like 20-30 people that come to every gig. Yeah. And that, you know, they'd make an effort to not be chatting for wee tunes, and do you know what I mean? They'd make an effort to just kind of listen and sing them, and then, you know, someone takes a video and it looks fucking ramming, even though it's 20-30 your mate.
Take a video right at the front, over someone's shoulder like that. You know what I mean? And those days.
And then like people will, then you put it on social media like, and then, you know, you have people from like Manchester like, you know, that people are really captivated in Birmingham. Come to Manchester. Then someone's like, this Fit Birds telling them to come to Manchester. We're going. Come to Sheffield, and I'll meet you in Manchester. Do you know what I mean? And then it grows that way, man. It genuinely does. Like, you know, and I think the main thing about it is just having good tunes, man. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'd say definitely working at them and making sure they're as good as they can be, and then eventually people will be captivated. You know, people are more captivated now. Yeah. More now than what they were then when we were doing the balcony, and I bet it looked good on the dance floor. Maybe one original. Do you know what I mean?
But that spirals as well, doesn't it? Like, you know, the fact that like my mates essentially know who you are when I mention the fact that you're coming onto this podcast. That's only going to get bigger and bigger, isn't it? Like,
but I think that's how you make fans. You know, someone goes, you heard this, and go, and then like you build a relationship with them. Like, you heard this one then. Do you know what I mean? And they're playing next month. Should we go? Then you go. You know what I mean? Then that's how friendship.
You'll become the arseholes in 20 years' time, and you guys are playing Wembley. They'll be there going, "Do you know the Claws?" We're there still playing Sunflower Lane. TV will going, "Do you guys know the Claws?" Go, they call our podcast once. I ain't spoke to him.
Hit him with the questions because I know we're pressed for time.
Yeah, man. Best moment you've had in a band?
Probably going to Paris, man, just before lockdown. Nice. Fucking unreal, man. Played, it was sold out. We went just for a session with a load of pals, and we just had the best few days, especially before the world went arse up. Yeah. We just had a laugh, and
I think we actually brought COVID back to the UK.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We said that about Dublin. We went to Dublin to watch a script. we hate the script. We got free tickets.
It's a fucking weird story.
Yeah. Basically, his mate was their photographer for a bit, and he was bored in Dublin. He's like, come to Dublin. I was like, I've got £20. He's got £15 and a universal credit meeting in about 20 minutes. I've had to sit in the car, like booking the car park at Birmingham Airport, as he's there like talking about like future goals and aspirations with someone called Nicola.
Mate,
and then he's like hobbled back to the car, and he's like, and I was like, I booked the car park. His mate Brandon's like, I booked your flights. He's like, you're staying in the hotel room, mate. We've gone. Like, I hope we get to meet Danny from the script. Didn't got to meet his security guard.
Yeah, it's a laugh though, man. That's what I mean. The funny thing, you have as a sort of a gig and travelling, man. We took a rake of lads over, man. About 12 of us, you know what I mean? All our best mates.
Bobby's on tour.
Yeah, and we just caused some fucking mischief. We just went right, man, and really fun. Especially
because it Paris?
Yeah, especially because lockdown was just after. We just like, I think we even knew the world was going to shut down, so we were like, this is just going to be funny.
We brought someone over with us who had COVID.
Yeah. so we were like, this is going to be
He was actually Rob from Camden.
Yeah. And he didn't even know he had it, but he had it.
He had COVID coming over, but he still came on the trip because he didn't want to miss out.
I bet he's still looking $1 million though, didn't he?
Nah, mate, you know what, I love Rob, but he's looked like fucking mould, man. And he was mould, man. He was mould, but yeah, that was probably the best moment, yeah.
Okay, worst gig.
Worst gig? My mum fucked off for one. Played Stoke on a Tuesday night in the rain.
That was awful,
and there was like, and the only person who was there was my mum.
Get tackled by Rory Dillap as always.
And the only person who come was my mum. The only person who come was my mum, and even the sound engineer didn't come to turn the monitors on to let us start playing because he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, he was
that was
outside having a fag.
Yeah, and that was a year before In My Element, so it just shows how quickly things can change, man. But yeah, that was. Bit sad, bit sad. But you know what? It weren't just my mum. There's 2 other people there, and they followed us on Facebook straight after, and they've come to every gig since. So, do you know what I mean? It just shows. But
I used to play an open mic night in Leicester called the Tap and Barrel. Best place in the world. Best people that like owned it. And like, mate, like we play some like awful covers. Like there's a guy there called Trev. He's like, play some Led Zeppelin, and I'm there going, I'm not Robert Plant. Like, give a goal, baby. Full set. I like trying to wing it. Got him on stage to sing. So I was like, I'm not fucking singing. Got him on stage. You forgot the words. He's wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt. So I've had some awful stories, but they would all come to Birmingham, and that was sick.
Yeah, it's funny, man, when you meet them people through it, ain't it, man? But
they're right.
Yeah, great. That was probably the worst, but yeah, kind of a bit of emotion looking back, I think.
Funny, man.
But again, it's one of them gems where you go, maybe if it wasn't for that, like, you wouldn't really appreciate what's happening now.
And the funny part was, man, we were like on social media, like, yes, Stoke. can't wait to come back. And we had these two people who had all their pals come underneath, like, yeah, come back to Stoke. And like, we played to a fucking arena, man. But the reality was, it was just.
What was it said on stage when we got on? Said,
they said they say freeze the crowd, so we've got a fucking arena or something.
There was like 5 people in there. He said something like, if they say freeze the crowd, this is a fucking concert.
That's amazing.
It's just 2 gigs.
Yeah. And he found it funny as fuck, and they're the people, and they were like, yeah, I like their attitude to it, man. Do you know what I mean?
Alright, 2 questions left. First one. What's next, like, most immediate thing that you guys are going to do? That you haven't announced, actually, so I don't want anything boring, but...
studio on Monday, but the matter in which we're at the studio is very fucking exciting.
We're doing a collaboration with a massive rock and roll artist.
Is it Paul Weller?
In America.
Oh, okay.
Nah, in America, so...
Is it Shania Twain?
Yeah.
I fucking wish, man.
that does impress me much, that does.
Shut up, you fucking puns.
Yeah, so that's buzzing. We're really excited about that.
That's ace, man.
Yeah.
Alright, last question. Because I know you're a Blues fan, I'm not sure if you are.
No, I'm Villa
You're
fan.
Villa, okay. Should Blues have retired the number for Jude Bellingham?
Nah, they shouldn't. Shut up, man.
He said he doesn't watch football, he's like, I don't know what's going on.
And they definitely should have done that massive piece of art outside the stadium as well.
I've got a video to show you. 2 of my mates, they're nearly 40.
Yeah.
I think one of them is 40. Villa fans. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, they managed to get into St Andrews, and they were literally just having shots at the goal. Like, there was no security guards there. Mate, that's my brother's mate. They're the ones that got me into Alex Home and the Lions. So, mate, there's this video and it's brilliant. And apparently, there's one security guard on shift who's patrolling. Like, that's how non-league you lot are.
Yeah, whatever.
But he was the other side of the stadium. He's just gone, oi, get off the pitch. And that was it. That was the only security they had, bro. Like,
Are you a Villa fan? Yeah.
No, I'm Wolves, man.
Oh yeah, see that makes sense, man.
I played at the Blues.
It's the thing, man. A lot of Villa fans are from like fucking Litchfield. And
they're all rude boys.
Yeah, like him, like Solihull and that.
I played at the Blues ground once. I did charity game.
Yeah.
Scored the best goal I've ever scored in my life. I was playing with I don't know what the thing was for. I was only like 16.
A little charity thing.
But yeah, it was a little charity thing, and I think it was with a few ex-players or something.
Nice.
Scored this volley outside the box. I would not be able to do it again if you paid me however much and told me to do it 400 times. Pinged it top bins. Peeled off like Shearer.
Knee slide and everything, or?
Yeah, man.
Right.
I need a piss bad idea.
That's a great way to leave it.
I'm just going to piss myself.
Got
a bladder of a child.
Would it be the first?
Yeah, you should have.
Boys, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having us, man.
Man.
Lovely little Thursday night and that.
I know, man.
It's as good as it gets. This is the pinnacle, bro.
Yeah.
This is.
We'll have to come here for a session, man. Next time we're in Starbridge, we'll hit you up.
Mate, no, we'll get you here, mate.
We're going to squat here.
You ain't taking my chair though, much. That's my chair, you're there.
Yeah, you keep it, lad.
Alright, same boys, we'll wrap it up there.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that bollocks sound.
Perfect.